Today I'm going to talk just a little bit about my 5 favorite Stephen King novels. Number 1 here, not necessarily my favorite, but in my top 5, is Under the Dome. This is a very lengthy novel, over 1,200 pages. I am one of those people that was very satisfied by the ending in this novel. I really enjoyed the world that Stephen King created in this one. This city that was trapped under a mysterious dome. This was a lot of fun for such a long novel. I felt that I was into it the whole time. It didn't drag at all. I really enjoyed it. Number 2, one of Stephen King's lesser known novels, Duma Key. This is between Under the Dome and Duma Key. It is probably my favorite standalone Stephen King novel. I'm not sure if I liked Under the Dome better or this one, but this one was cool. I really liked the main character. I really liked the additional cast of characters. Wireman was really great. I liked the spooky paranormal happenings that takes place on the island in this one. I thought Stephen King did very well with the plot in this one. It's kind of long too. It's almost 800 pages. This one's pretty lengthy, but again, I felt that I was into it the whole time, that it didn't drag. Stephen King's Duma Key. Edgar Freemantle is the artist. He does paintings in this one. He's the main character. Really good novel. I liked Stephen King's Misery. This is an older one about a woman that kidnaps her favorite author and forces him to write novels for her, and she tortures the living hell out of him. Really good novel. I haven't seen the movie. I haven't seen a lot of the movies of the books that I've read, but this one was really good. This novel takes place primarily just in a bedroom. Almost the entire novel is just in this bedroom. So Stephen King does a really good job in this one of keeping things suspenseful with the limited setting in this novel. Stephen King's Misery. The lady in this one is really, really crazy, so good read. This is a compilation. A couple of novellas, I think, and maybe 3 or 4 short stories. It's been a while since I read it. This is one of just a handful of books I've rated a perfect 10 in my life. The first story in this one is a direct connection to Stephen King's Dark Tower series. The additional stories throughout this book all involve characters from the first story. So they're all related in that aspect, but not much more than that. Every one of these was good. There's a story in this one about a panhandler that I really enjoyed. He, does very well with his panhandling venture. It's a really interesting story. It's not very long. Hearts in Atlantis is the name of the second story in this. It's kind of a heartfelt drama that Stephen King, he got it off very well. It just flows really well. Quick read. Stephen King's Hearts in Atlantis, one of my top 5. Finally, I will mention Stephen King's The Drawing of the Three. This one is part of a series, the Dark Tower series. This is book number 2. I remember when I first read this one, when I finished it, upon finishing this novel, I was just astonished by the depth of imagination that Stephen King had, especially after reading book 1 that I enjoyed fairly well. The depth of imagination just really goes off in this second novel. You travel with Roland the Gunslinger along a beach in this one, in kind of a low-end fantasy world, and it's just, the imagination was just like crazy deep in this one. I loved it. Stephen King's The Drawing of the Three. Those are my top 5 Stephen King novels currently. I've read about 35 of his books, so I'm questing to read them all. Perhaps when I finish them all, I'll do an update and we'll see if these books are still part of my top 5.